why is it that Brits are not having babies? The fertility rate in England and Wales has fallen to the lowest on record, with women having an average of just 1.44 children. For countries to maintain their populations, the fertility rate needs to be around 2.1. In the space of a year, the number of babies born has dropped by a whopping 14,000. So what do you think is causing this? Is it down to the cost of living crisis? Is it housing concerns? Is it the cost of childcare? Is it that women are focusing on careers instead of having babies? Is it that nobody can find somebody to commit to in a relationship? Do let us know. If you haven't had children, you're not having any, or your children aren't producing children, give us a call on 0207 862 2222. Marina, I know you have two children. I have two children, 4 grandchildren. What do you think it is that's stopping people having children now?
I mean, you did a very good job there of listing all the things. I think a cost is a huge part of it. I think now, you know, people have this idea, certainly I did when I was younger, is you get married, you buy a house, then you have your kids. You know, the cost of all these things is just not what it was before. Now, you just can't afford it anymore. Getting on the property ladder, near impossible for so many people. Do you want to raise a child in rented accommodation? Do you want to be able to paint the nursery? Like, do you know, things like this is one factor. You've also got the astronomical, price of childcare. There was a thread on Twitter and someone's going, as if you pay £2,000 plus for nursery fees. I can say I genuinely do. And I have 2 who are in nursery, not even full time. That's 4 days a week and it's over £2,000. And this is not a luxury nursery. This is a run-of-the-mill nursery. You've got that. And on top of that, this is me speaking from my own personal feeling, is I look at my little ones who are 2 and 3, and I think I feel a bit guilty about what they are going to inherit from us in terms of climate change, in terms of the state of the world, in terms of, you know, what we're about to see in the US. And I think there's so many reasons now for people not to have children that it's a compelling argument. And on top of that, dating.
Yes.
Dating and the world of dating now and how commoditised it's become and how, let's be honest, it has served men very well. Men are like a dog with 2 bits,
right?
And women do not have that same advantage in this current setup.
So there we have the stall set out for why people are not having children, and they're not. But Albie, it used to be thought, I think, that there would just be this urge that would overcome you, this kind of broody urge to reproduce. And people will say they kept their baby in a drawer because they couldn't afford a cot. They sat on orange boxes. You know, somehow there was this feeling that we are here on earth to go forth and multiply. It's kind of sacred commandment, and we instinctively want to, so we just do, whether or not we've got any money. Doesn't seem to be happening, though. Where's that feeling?
I think what's really concerning, actually, is what we're seeing in countries that are a lot further along in this process than we are in terms of demographic change. If we talk about countries like Japan and South Korea, for example, where they are literally experiencing depopulation in parts of the country, that is going to happen here. This is the biggest issue facing the 21st century. It's sad that we've created a world where people don't feel that they want to bring children into this world. We've got to fix it. It's very important. I also think culturally, something's changed a little bit where having a child is seen as a burden and family life isn't seen as important. Lots of people are focused on their careers. I'm not saying that's not important, but so is family.
All right, let's talk to Michelle in Lincolnshire about this. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for ringing about this one. What do you think is the reason that people aren't having children in the way they used to?
Well, like I said, this is 2024, but 50 years ago, you had your grandparents, you had your relatives, you had your siblings. If you went to work, your family will look after the child. But now you've got grandparents having to work because the retirement age has gone up.
I'm at work. I'm a grandma of 4. Here I am. Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I said, you're working. You could have easily said, you know, I'm going to retire, but you can't. And I think, end of the day, like when I become a grandmother, my daughter lives far away. If she becomes pregnant and wants help, you could tell me to pop on a bus, £3 cap to look after my child. No, I'll be working. And like I said, I'm 53 and my retirement age is 68. Well, it won't be because the time Labour puts it up, I'll be 71. What I'm trying to say to you at the end of the day is my grandchild, which I won't be seeing, will suffer because... And another thing, what makes me mad about the government and universal credit in that, if you're a single mum working hard because you have the right to work hard, and the man that you're with can't be bothered, so you're better off being a mother yourself and being a father, and you want to go to work, first thing they would say to you is, well, you've got to go to work. Your child has to go into childcare, which is like your presenter said, £2,000.
Yeah.
Then she's saying, well, I can't be bothered to. I might as well use a personal credit and have a child.
Yep.
It's the taxpayers that have to pay these Facebook people. So what's happened is that the poor people are laughing at the working class and rich class. They're saying, well, what's the point of me going to work when I have to spend money on childcare? I might as well stay at home.
Tell me, Michelle, I'd like to know, your daughter who lives far away, is she likely to have a baby? Is she in a position where she's thinking about it or not?
No, she's in a relationship, but she's smart. But what she doesn't want to do is be the typical 30, 40, 50-year-olds having children. That's what's going to happen. I mean, even celebrities, Kylie Minogue regrets it now because she said she wished she had a child earlier instead of now she can't because of her career. A lot of celebrities and rich people, working class people want children, but not yet. But the time you have a child at 30, 40 years old, your parents can't look after that child because they're working.
Absolutely. Also, it's harder to get pregnant for women, unfortunately. Over the age of 35, it gets harder every year to get pregnant. That's where some of these issues arise. Michelle, as a mum with a daughter, though, do you take her into a corner and have a quiet word and say, I'm dying to be a grandma, or you don't feel that that's appropriate these days?
No. Like I said, you don't need a man to have a child these days. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, she's wise, but we're not promised tomorrow. And if she gets pregnant, she gets pregnant. But I will explain to her that, you know what, Mum can't look after your child because I'm working until I drop dead, basically.
Gosh.
Because of my health. And that's why there's a lot of grandparents and relatives can't look after their children because everyone's scattered over the country.
Hell of a reality check, this conversation, Michelle. I mean, a hell of a reality check. Thank you so much for ringing. I mean, a situation where Michelle really, literally, she's not exaggerating, might still be working at the age of 68 or even 71. How is she meant to help out? The cost, as you've just said, £2,000 for 4-day-a-week nursery, as you said, of an ordinary kind of calibre. I mean, put all those things together, it's hardly surprising people don't feel they can take the plunge and have children. Jean's on the line in Gloucestershire. Hello, Jean. Thanks for ringing.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. So people aren't having babies, Jean. What's going on?
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Well, I think I have a lot of friends. I've got a big family, 4 children, a lot of grandchildren, and everybody that I know at the moment are talking about the state of the country and the state of the world.
Right.
And they don't really want to bring babies into this. I have grandchildren at high schools and that is saying about, the drugs being rife, so people don't want their children around that.
Yes.
The teachers are quite scared of children because they can be physical. And as I said to the lady earlier on, I was in casualty recently quite late at night.
Yeah.
And there were drug addicts and alcoholics, and one doctor had to physically hold them back for me to get round.
Oh, God.
So I think the state of the country, the state of the world now, people are putting off having children or not having any at all.
Well, Jean, you've got children and grandchildren. Do you think they're right, or do you think it's a terrible shame and that ultimately later in life they'll think, oh, my gosh, I made that decision, I was trying to be responsible, but I regret it because I don't have any descendants and I don't have the love of my own children?
I think they might, but I have one grandchild in particular that has said to me that they don't want to have children because of that, but they will have nieces and nephews.
Oh, gosh. I mean, so many people there, when you say to them, what's the best thing you've ever done in your entire life, including me, 100% without question, my children and my grandchildren, obviously even more lovely than my children, but I would never say that on television. And I hope my children are busy and both my girls are busy working and didn't hear me say that, but you know what I mean. That's true love. Anyway, Jean, thank you very much indeed. After the break, it's the papers.